So before starting this class, let me give you a little bit of historical context of this chapter. A little going back to history because somewhere Ramanujan did some really incredible stuff in this arithmetic progression. See, arithmetic means something, the branch of mathematics dealing with numbers, and progression means something that goes on and on and on. Now, there had been linguists earlier in Indian literature or in Indian culture, there was no distinction between language and mathematics. Mathematics was just seen as another language which could be expressed vividly by the Sanskrit language. So there was this poet come, linguist come mathematician. His name was Hemachandra. Now, for the first time, he explored something which we now know as Fibonacci series. I don't know how many of you have heard of that name, but Ornesha was waiting for long. Okay, so he gave a beautiful series called as Fibonacci series. I mean, the and the interesting thing is he gave this thing just by like the beats of a song, long short, long short. There are many interesting videos. One of the prominent Indian Canadian mathematician Manjul Bhargav has explained how he did it very wonderfully, quite wonderfully. I'm not going into that, but then after that, much of the credit of its maximum, see, arithmetic progression, what you are learning as a chapter here is a very small part of the entire mathematics. So one of them who was the master of arithmetic in his life, his name is Srinivasa Ramanujan. How many of you have heard of him? Srinivasa Ramanujan. So this man was born in abject poverty. I mean, just abject. He barely could afford some food, and he was a gem of a guy. What he did in 33 years, in the last 3,300 years of human civilizations, people could not manage to do that much. So this man first was very talented, got a prestigious scholarship and got admitted into the Madras University back then, which was a very prestigious university. But because he was so much inclined to mathematics, just as an amateur, just as someone who had immense interest in numbers and patterns and something, he could not focus on any other subject except mathematics. His scholarship was scratched off and he was in trouble. He had no kind of formal education because he was so passionate in maths, and he dropped out of college and he started his independent works. Amazingly, he developed around 4,000 formulas, which is collected in notebooks. Now, in 1900s, in almost 1900s, during that time, it is more than 121 years ago. That means already almost 2 to 3 generations before. He started his work on arithmetic progression and something called as geometric progression. Now, he was a man who was dealing with infinity always. His results were bizarre, that developed a lot of controversy because most of his work did not consist of any proofs. And by he investigated several things like continued fractions, infinite series. You will get to know them all later. But Ramanujan started really very highly complex works on arithmetic progression, and I think it is worth knowing that India has a very big contribution in the field of science and mathematics per se. So in this context, let us start our chapter on arithmetic progression. So first of all, we need to learn a few terms. Arithmetic progression we already know of. Now we would know of two other terms. One is called as sequence, the other is called as series. These are big topics of a major part of mathematics called as real analysis, but we won't go into that depth. We'll be covering it in a short way. So what is a sequence? Sequence are numbers that are arranged in a specific order according to a rule. Okay, like this is a sequence. It is not necessary that difference should be same. In general, I'm talking about, but here we are speaking about arithmetic progression. We shall deal with a special type of sequence. I'm coming. But if we talk about only sequence, it does not matter what is the difference between them. Okay, it can be like this also, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4. This can also be a sequence and so on. Are you getting my point? And what is series? What is series? The sum of all the terms of a sequence form a series. Okay, is that clear? Yes. Okay, now let us redefine this term in this context. Redefine the term arithmetic progression. So what is arithmetic progression? Arithmetic progression is a sequence. Remember, it is a sequence which is having a constant common difference. That means, suppose there is a sequence A1, A2, A3, A4 and so on. Let me give an minus 1, an also. Now, if it has to be an arithmetic progression, there is one condition that must be satisfied. That is, A2 minus A1 should be A4, A3 minus A2 should be equal to A4 minus A3 and so on. Is that clear? That means the difference between any two terms should be constant. Are you getting my point? Like, for example, you see here 1, 3, I'm sorry, 5 had to be given here. So, I'm sorry, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and dot, 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 dot. Are you seeing that there is a constant difference of 2? And the sequence is progressing like that. Are you seeing this? Yes. This is called an arithmetic progression. An arithmetic progression is a sequence where the difference between any two terms is same. Difference between, or rather difference between any term and its previous term is the same. So this difference is called as the common difference, or D. Common difference. So do you understand why the name common difference came into account? This is simply because the difference between a term and its previous term is always constant. Am I clear? Okay. So can you tell me whether this is in AP or not? Root 7, root 28, root 63 and so on. Is this in AP? Check it out and tell me. Okay. So this is an AP. How? See, this is root 7. This is root 7 into 4. Now you take, if you take 4 out of this, you get 2 root 7. And 63, you get 7 into 9. If you take 9 common, you get 3 root 7. So root 7, 2 root 7, 3 root 7, this form an AP, correct? If I ask you what is the common difference of this AP, what would you say? The common difference is root 7, isn't it? 2 root 7 minus root 7 or 3 root 7 minus root 7, it is always going to come as root 7. Okay. Now, the term with which an AP starts is called the first term. And this is basically common difference. So keeping this in mind, solve one more question. There is a progression, only progression, 11, 6, 1, minus 4, minus 9. So I'm asking you to find whether it is in AP. If it is in AP, find the first term and common difference. Okay, what is the first term and common difference? First term is 11. Common difference minus. Correct. Because every term is 5 less than its previous term. Because every term is 5 less than its previous term, the entire sequence, as we see, the entire progression is in AP. Is this clear? Clear to you? We need something more. to do this kind of problems. If you ask me why, let me give you a situation where you yourself will understand, and so on. Okay, suppose this is a sequence. Is this in AP? If I manually want you to find the 1000th term of it, I want you to manually calculate 1000th term of it manually. It is going to take a long time, isn't it so? If you go on finger counting this, yes, exactly. Hardly does anyone have so much of patience as to calculate the 1000 terms hand by hand. Here is where the essence or the importance of formula comes out to be. So it looks like there is a formula of finding the nth term of an AP. This is what we are going to explore right now. Finding nth term of an AP. So if I want to find the nth term of an AP, first I have to define the AP properly. So suppose I start with the first term A and common difference D. So the next term will be A plus D. The next term will be A plus 2D. Next term will be A plus 3D. Like this I'm going. Now, this term is A plus 0D. This term is A plus 1D. This is first term. This is second term. This is third term. This is fourth term. Can you see that in second term, this was 1D. In third term, this is 2D. In fourth term, this is 3D. So if I talk about nth term, can you derive what will be here? A plus n minus 1D. Please observe this. Please observe this. For fourth term, you had 3D. For third term, you had 2D. For second term, you had 1D. So for nth term, what would you have? N minus 1, na? This is just one less. So these forms the nth term of an AP. This is very important. Of any AP, the nth term is A plus n minus 1D. Where n is the, what number term it is. A is the first term and D is the common differences. The terminology is clear? Yes? Now deriving this simple formula, now I want to look back and want you to calculate the 100th term of this arithmetic progression. Quick. 5, 8, 11, 14. 5, 8, 11, 14 and so on. I want to find T 1000. Find me out. I want answers from everybody. Okay. Anybody else with any answer? 302. Is that so? No, it is not going to be such. See, T 1000 will be A is the first term, which is 5. 5 plus.
T 1000, I thought.
You should not think something beyond what is written. So this will be 999 as 1000 minus 1 into common difference is 3, as you can see. So if you calculate this, how much does it come? Like I guess it is 2997. So that will be 3002. Okay. Now see, without having to calculate manually, just by having a formula, you are getting these answers so beautifully. This is the essence of deriving formulas of arithmetic progression. Solve one more problem. Find the 50th term of the AP minus 5, minus 5 by 2, 0, 5 by 2 and so on.
Minus 245.
Minus 245. No, this is already getting positive. Look at it carefully. If it is already getting positive, you cannot do like that. The term, the 50th term is going to come to be positive. Snigdha, it is not to be, this should not take too long. Now common difference. You may find just the common difference of any two terms like this. So let me take this because this is the easiest. You find the common difference is 5 by 2 minus 0, that is 5 by 2. The first term A is minus 5. Now you are asked to calculate the 50th term. So just put in the formula, that is A plus 50 minus 1 into D. So that is basically equal to minus 5 plus 49 into 5 by 2. So that is 49 into 5 is, I guess, 245. 235 by 2 is the answer. Okay. So these are the kind of problems that you will be solving with this formula. Now, you had been constantly using the formula A plus n minus 1D to find the nth term in an AP. What if I tell you to reverse engineer this? Now, I am giving you an expression of nth term. That is, Tn is equal to, assume it to be 5n minus 3. I am asking you, find the first term and common difference. Can you find this? Also find the 21st term. Yes, do it. These are very basic things. See, now I have a general expression like this. Now can I say that T1 is equal to 5 minus 3, which is equal to 2? Because you plug in n here and you have to plug in n here, isn't it? So T1 is 5 into 1 minus 3, which is 2. So can I say that the first term is 2? Now you calculate T2. What is T2? Plug in 2 here. So 5 2s are 10, minus 3, which is 7. So the second term is 7. Can you find the common difference?
So 5.
Now you have the first term and common difference. Can you calculate the 21st term? 102. Done. Okay. So I think this was very easy. You just have to look things in a different way. The basics are very same. So if I ask you questions like this, is 51 a term of the AP? 5, 8, 11, here the formula comes into play. Without formula, this would manual reviewing would have taken unnecessarily long time. Solve it. Now I am asking, is 51 a term of this AP or not? This is the question. What is coming, not coming, I don't know. Suppose I am assuming that 51 is the nth term of this AP. So 51 is the nth term. That means 5 plus n minus 1 into the common difference is 3. So if I calculate this, 51 minus 5 is 46. 46 by 3 plus 1 is going to be n. Now you see, the n is coming out to be fractional in nature, right? 46 is not divisible by 3. Because the n is fractional and not a number, 51 won't be any term. Because n itself is coming out to be something that is not a natural number. Are you getting my point? This is how you solve problems, okay? There are a lot of problems here. Like this, you will be doing the entire exercise 5A. Okay. Now there is a concept called as arithmetic mean. This is very simple. Arithmetic mean. Now what do you understand as mean? Mean? What do you understand by the term arithmetic mean? This is mean is equivalent to average. Okay. Now suppose you have any two numbers A and B. Any two numbers, it does not matter what. Any two real numbers A and B. I can say that A is the arithmetic mean between A and B if A and B are in AP. Okay. If A and B are in AP, then only I can say this A is the arithmetic mean of A and B. Capital A is the arithmetic mean of A and B. Are you getting my point? With this, can you calculate A in terms of A and B? Very simply speaking, A will be the mid term of this A and B. Or in other words, if you are asked to find arithmetic mean of A and B, The arithmetic mean would be such a number so that A and B forms an AP. So find it out, find the value of A. It's very simple, you see.
So A mane capital A.
See, A minus A is equal to B minus A. Can I not say this? B minus capital A. Can I not say this? So from here, can I get 2A is equal to A plus B? So I get A is equal to A plus B by 2. This is no rocket science. Only if A is at the midpoint of small a and small b can this be in arithmetic progression. Are you getting my point? If A is a little nearer to B or A is a little closer to A, small a, then you could never find this in arithmetic progression, isn't it so? Because the distance would have been different. So to have an arithmetic progression of two numbers, it is very necessary that that is actually the midpoint between the two numbers. That's essentially what the term arithmetic mean means. If I tell you to find the arithmetic mean between 13 and 19, can you find it out? So this is going to be 16. This is actually 13 plus 19 by 2. This is also very common sense, you see. If you place 13, 16 and 19 like this, the distance of 16 from 13 will be the distance of 19 from 16, isn't it so? So this is basically the entire masla. Now, suppose I am giving you a problem like this. Try to solve it with an open mind and if possible with a slightly indirect approach. So I'm saying that the sum of three numbers in AP is 21 and their product is 231. Find the numbers. Solve it. Okay, let me solve this for you now. See, here it is very essential that you have the choice of variables properly. Sum of three numbers in AP is 21. Now, if you assume it to be A plus D and A plus 2D.
A, B or C.
My God, then you will get mad. That is not going to happen anyway. You have only two relations, so you have to make this into two variables. So if you take A plus D and A plus 2D, and if you add them, you will once again get two variables. That would be problematic actually. So now, the point is, if you have A, you take A plus D and A minus D to be the three numbers. Now you see the crux of this. If you add them and you apply it to be 21, D and minus D will cancel out. So you will be getting A very easily to be 7, isn't it so? Having this in mind, the product will be 7 minus D into 7 plus D. That will be 231. Now can you solve it very easily? Can you? 7, 3s are 21, 33. 7 minus D into 7 plus D will be 7 square minus D square, that is 33. So here from you will get D is equal to plus minus 4. So if A is 7 and D is plus 4, it will be 7, 11 and 14. Am I doing some mistake or what? 7 plus 4 is 11 and minus 4 is 3. This is one possibility. If D is minus 4, then you have 7, 3 and 11. This is just actually the series reversed like this. Everybody, are you clear on this problem? Please respond. If you...
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So these are the kind of problems that are going to come. So in this context, it is good if you can remember these three things. Suppose you are given three consecutive numbers. If you are given three consecutive numbers, in AP, then you can assume the terms to be A plus D, A minus D, just as you have seen. If you have 4 consecutive numbers, if you have 4 consecutive numbers in AP, you can assume the numbers to be A plus D, A minus D, A plus 3D, A minus 3D. Don't ask me how. This is just by hit and trial. See, if you try to do it like this, A plus 2D, or here if you give A minus 2D in 4 consecutive numbers, you will see we'll have an extra D. The only way to cancel out the D is to have a difference of 2 in each of the terms here, like this, arranging it like this. So see, this 2 term and this 2 term, the D, the common difference, the sum of them will come out to be the same. Am I clear on my point? Now suppose I ask 5 consecutive numbers in AP. Then you can do just like this. For 5 you need to add 2 more, na? So you have A plus D and A minus D. So add here A plus 2D, add here A minus 2D. Is that done? This is actually enough. Nothing more will be asked. Okay. I mean, these are just enough if you know how to, arrange the consecutive numbers. If there are given 3, if they are given 4, or at most 5. Okay, at most 5. They don't give anything more than that. 5 is at most. Even this is rare. So can we do problems like this? Sum of 3 consecutive numbers in an AP is 18 if the product of first and third number is 5 times the common difference. Find the numbers. This was asked in CBSE 2019. Solve it first. No, that is not it. 15, 3, 15, 6 and 3. No, you see, it is first of all not in AP. If it is in AP, these are not consecutive numbers. So let's check this out. Let's check this out. This is actually very easy. So as you know, if you have to assume 3 consecutive numbers, assume it to be A plus D and A minus D. It is given the sum of them is 18. That means 3A is equal to 18, and it implies A is equal to 6. Now you have the first term. Now they are telling if the product of first and third number, that means A minus D and A plus D, that means 6 minus D and 6 plus D. If the product of this is 5 times the common difference is 5D. So basically you have a quadratic equation here. This is 36 minus D square is equal to 5D. That is basically D square plus 5D minus 36 is equal to 0. You just need to solve it. So by middle term factorization, I can see the factors to be 9 and 4. So you get here D minus 4 and D plus 9 is equal to 0. Now there are two possibilities. Either this D is coming out to be 4 or D is coming out to be minus 9. So if I assume D is equal to 4, what will I get? One number is 6, another number is 10, the other number is 2. Correct? I have D is equal to minus 9 as well. If I put D is equal to minus 9, what will I get? 6 minus 3 and 15. Did anyone come up with this answer? 15, 6 minus 3, it would not be 3. Who said this is 3? It is not 3, it is minus 3. So both are the possible answers, okay? There is no single answer here. Both are possible answers because I can see that it is going on like that only. Yes. Okay. Is it clear to you, everybody?
Yes,
So
sir.
this is how you just apply these concepts and solve the problems. Now we have come to almost the end of this chapter. As I said, we have the nth term, suppose we have the nth term, but now I want to calculate the sum of all the nth term. Sum of n terms. I want to calculate the sum of all the nth n terms. That means if I have an AP, now I want to have a series. Are you getting my point? I want to add all of them. And I want to get the entire sum. So what is the strategy? This is a very unique strategy. I shall discuss a story after this, okay? Now, how to find an expression for this sum? What do? You just invert it and write. That means a plus n minus 1d plus a plus n minus 2d, and it goes on and on and on and on. Finally, here it will be a. Are you getting my point? I've just inverted it and written. Now just add it. Add the two. So you get 2a plus n minus 1d here. Plus, adding this, what do you get? How much do you get adding this? 2a plus n minus 1d. By this also you will be getting the same thing. Huh?
N minus 2d.
No. N minus 2d plus d. How much is this? Yes. And at last also you're going to get the same thing. 2a plus n minus 1d. So basically, if you look at it properly, you have all the terms as 2a plus n minus 1d. Now let me ask you this. How many terms are there in Sn itself? How many terms are there? How many terms are there? N terms are being added. N similar terms are being added. So can I say the sum to be n times 2a plus n minus 1d? Can I say it like this? So this sum comes out to be n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1d. You don't need to remember the previous method. You just need to remember this formula. Is this clear? N means the n number of terms, d means the common difference, and a is the first term of the series. Is this clear? This can be written in a yet different way. Can 2a be written as a plus n minus 1d? Now here a plus n minus 1d. Can you see it is at the last term? It is the last term. So can I say that Sn is equal to n by 2 into a plus last term L? This is also a valid formula, and you can keep on alternately applying these formulas whenever you want. Are you getting my point, everybody? So if I ask you to calculate this sum, suppose I give you, find the sum of first 20 terms of 5, 8, 11, 14 and so on. Find the sum of first 20 terms of this expression. Now see, had you started doing it manually, it would have been very problematic. Hence the formula 370. Okay, whatever. Let's see. Anisha came up with any answer? See, very easy, nothing. So first of all, to find the sum of first 20 terms, you need to find the 20th term. So in this AP, what is the 20th term? A plus 19 into the common difference is 3. So 19 3s are 57. 57 plus 5 is 62. So 20th term is 62 here. So now you have the entire, sum like this. There are 20 terms. So what will be the sum? That is 20 by 2 into A plus L. Is that clear? That is 10 into 62 plus 5, which is 67. That is 670. See the formula, if you look at it properly, there is always a first term and last term involved. Is this clear to you? So I'm just finding out the last term here because last term is the 20th term. And after I found out the last term, I just put in the formula. There are 20 terms. So n by 2 is 20 by 2 and multiplied by A plus L. The first term is 5, the last term is 62. If I calculate this, I get 670. Did you use this formula to do that?
Yes.
So let me apply that formula as well. So n by 2 is 20 by 2. 2a, that means 2 into 5 plus n minus 1. N is 20. So n minus 1 is 19. 19 into d is 3. So once again, it is 10 into 10 plus 19 threes are how much? 57. So you see, it is 10 into 67. That is 670. Any way you do, the answer is bound to come out to be the same because there is practically nothing distinct in between the two formulas. They are the same. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Okay. Now solve a little complex one. Okay, but before that, let me tell you an interesting story. There was a mathematician in the name of Carl Friedrich Gauss. He was a genius by his time. He did many breakthroughs in physics. Yes. He did many breakthroughs in physics, mathematics in different ways. All summarized, he was a genius, utter genius. He was 10 years old back then. 10 years old means you were in class 4 or 5 maybe. So he was 10 years old. Yes. Yes. None. He applied no formula. He applied his intuition. So the teacher said, suddenly one day the teacher said all the students in the class to calculate the sum of the numbers from 1 to 100. Now everybody started manually sitting on it because they were 10-year-old students. What will they know about anything like that? But Gauss, what he did in his mind, he saw this. There is a pattern in this. Let me reverse it. So when he reverses it like this and adds it, he gets 2s is equal to 101 plus 101 plus 101 and dot 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 plus 101. 100 times he gets 101. So 2s is equal to 100 times 101. So this is 50 times 101. Within 30 to 40 seconds, he answers that it is 5050. The teacher was stunned. That day, the teacher knew that this little boy is going to rock the world of science, and he did that. Undoubtedly, he did that. So this is how we actually are finding the formula for. He did not know anything. Just by the intuition, he actually found out a generalization for the same. And this is brilliant actually. Now, if I ask you, find the sum of all 3-digit numbers which are a multiple of 11. Can you find it out? Try this. No. Check it once again. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So let me solve this out for those who could not figure it out how to do. This is where concept comes in. If you are clear in your mind, if you are clear in your concepts, you can eventually apply that into many different ways. So if I have to find the sum of all 3-digit number, I need to know what is the beginning, What is the starting 3-digit number and what is the ending 3-digit number, which is a multiple of 11. So 11 nines are 99, 11 tens are 110. So 110 seems to be the beginning, correct? And you have 121, and you just go on like this. Now, if you see 11 times 90, just by hit and trial, you have to do this. 11 times 90 is 990. If you have any number more than that, you are going to cross 3 digits. Yes, 990 plus 11 will be in 1000s. Okay. So coming to the point, starting point is 110 and ending is 990. You have to find the sum of all of them. But before that, there is one very necessary thing that you need to find. Sum can be easily given by the formula n by 2 into a plus l. But the important thing is n. How to calculate n? N means the number of terms. So the last term is 990, and that is basically the nth term. So I can say that it is n minus 1 into 11. So if I take 11 common out of here, I'll get 90 is equal to 10 plus n minus 1. So n is equal to 81. Now I know that it is 81 by 2 into, this is, I guess, 1100. Am I clear? Solving this would give you 44550. You need to find n first. If you don't find how many terms are there, you won't be able to calculate the sum.
Yes, sir.
So basically, this is how you can solve all the problems. So this chapter is almost kind of done. There is nothing more in this chapter. What you can do more is, there are the different kinds of word problems. Okay, there are different types of questions which you can solve. So basically, we complete the chapter here. To just have a short note of summary, first of all, we started with the genesis, the introduction of the idea on arithmetic progression. We described what are sequence and series. We described how arithmetic progression is a special type of sequence. We described the terms, and we discussed, we appreciated why the formula for an nth term is necessary. And after having some kind of problems here and there, little bits, we calculated the arithmetic mean. Arithmetic mean is most probably the easiest concept out here. The arithmetic mean is the average of two numbers. So, and it turns out to be the average is in AP with the two numbers. Then after that, we came to the concept of sum, the sum of numbers in an AP. This is very important because many times we need the sum total of all of them. And after that, you will be having some word problems to do. Okay. So this kind of completes the chapter on AP.